Hey team, I'm just waiting for Soph to jump on and we're going to do our first Q&A in a little while. We actually haven't done one in a little while because Soph's been off gallivanting around the countryside, carapanioning with Tom the farmer. So as always, the materials and content and everything that we talk about and discuss is recommended for general information only. It's not to be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. So please make sure that if you do have any health, consult your healthcare practitioner. We are just vibing about stuff. Oh man, why didn't it split screen? Shit house.
I feel like it only does it on the other way.
When you spin it.
But like I think before we go on.
Yeah. Can't rotate your phone while recording apparently. I saw someone had it the other day where it was like this, but half the top and half the person. Well, not half the person. One person up the top, one person down the bottom, split screen.
I think that's on your computer. We haven't got there yet, but
that's well beyond our scope of expertise at this point. But we will get
that's
there.
in the too hard basket.
Yeah, we will stop being complete techno useless humans at some point in time.
Yeah.
How's your skin?
Good.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm living my best life yet after our little camper van trip.
Lack of stress, my friend. Lack of stress.
Yeah. I live by the beach.
Absolutely. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe you and Tom just need to sell the house. You could maybe even just have a trailer that's got all your veggies in it, and it could just be a roving trailer farm.
And a chicken coop.
That sounds
is a little thing. Imagine how funny that would be if you're driving along the highway and there's two people in a camper van that go past and there's just chickens looking out the window in their little van. Just like eggs.
Oh, shit.
And everywhere we pull up, we could like unravel the shop and then sell things.
Absolutely, like homegrown produce. You could collect the manure from the chooks, put it onto the garden, onto your camper trailer garden. Yeah.
We've got it all figured out.
Sounds amazing.
It'll be us. It'll be us very soon.
All right, should we crack on?
Yes.
Let's dive right in.
It's been a while. Dust the cobwebs out.
It has been a while. So there could be quite a lot of...
there could be some really shit advice given.
I've already done a disclaimer.
Oh, good. We're covered.
Exactly.
Legally. We can't afford anyone to sue us.
No. Okay. Any advice on how to repair and recover after gastro or vomiting?
Well, like Shannon and I have spoken about with gastro, we always think that activated charcoal is a good idea just to kind of help get those bugs out. So if you haven't watched our other Facebook Lives, one of them we talk a little bit about activated charcoal and bentonite clay. So we always recommend kind of using them when you are having something like gastro to help get that bad bacteria out of there, bad pathogens out of your body. And then your body's obviously going to be a lot better at kind of repairing itself once that's gone. And then I say bone broth. I think bone broth's a big win. Collagen to help heal and seal that gut lining, kind of strengthen it all up after a little bit of damage was done. Lots of fluid.
Yeah.
I think quite often we don't realize how dehydrated we get when we get really sick from something like gastro. And sometimes we even need to add a little bit of mineral salt or something in there just to help our body reabsorb that fluid. I knew my tummy was really bad. Having ulcerative colitis is kind of like having gastro 24/7. And if it's not managed, and I, for a long time when it was really bad, had to have salts in water like every time I was drinking because I was drinking so much and I was peeing so much, but then I wasn't rehydrating. So yeah. I think that's a good idea. Even like saunas are a good way to kind of sweat out any bad bacteria and toxins. And also I think floating's a good one if you've been really sick to kind of help your body reabsorb magnesium and salts topically, because as Shannon talked about, topically is a lot better than orally with things like magnesium. So I'd say while you're unwell, activated charcoal, bentonite clay. While you're getting better, something like bone broth. I think aloe water is great as well, which we show people how to make in our workshops. You can also buy aloe water now from health food stores. Just get the one that's got the medicinal aloe in it and it's got no other ingredients. And that's probably, you could put some probiotics into your diet to help with a mate. If you do get really sick after it, you know, some people have gastro for 24 hours and they kind of bounce back. Some people's guts are probably on that point. They're not that good at the moment. And that's kind of like that final ticking bomb.
Yeah.
So I think you could look at some probiotics, but Shannon, and you use probiotics as a maintenance. Don't use them to re-establish your gut microbiome. You need to actually be doing the work while you take probiotics. You can't just rely on probiotics at all for you. And we also do recommend getting good quality probiotics, you know, like soil-based organisms or bioceuticals ones, things like that. And food.
Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with all those things. The only other thing I would say is there's very specific strains of probiotics that can be really useful for gastro and stuff like that. But if you are going to look into using specific strains of probiotics, I would definitely work with a practitioner to work out exactly what you need to help repair that. If you find that it's going on for a period of time, like if you've just had 24 or 48 hours of gastro, I would be doing, the broth and all that sort of stuff. You could definitely add some turmeric and stuff like that into your broth as well, just to help with that inflammation. And even stuff like ginger tea, stuff like ginger can be really, really soothing and stuff, especially if you've got a lot of nausea and stuff like that. That can kind of help with inflammation and also just to kind of help calm and soothe that sort of gut as well. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say also, I think when I was really sick, I think people can get confused as well, thinking that things are gastro related, but it might be something else going on. So if you've got a lot of gastro kind of symptoms and it's not really getting better, maybe you need to work with a practitioner.
Irritable bowel.
Yeah. Maybe you've got a real shitty bowel, literally, and you need to get that sorted. So, I think if anything kind of goes on long term that is starting to be a little bit of concern, then we always recommend. Like Shan and I go and see health professionals with things going on. Like if things are going on for a long time and we can't kind of work, you know, we'd give things a little while to work on them ourselves. If they're not improving, then something's obviously going wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Problems at home.
What do you think of Bulletproof coffee?
I think it's a laxative in a cup waiting to happen.
I was just going to say, careful because you'll shit yourself. That's what I think.
Look, I drink one while I was on the toilet, but only because shit would go down.
If you needed to do a colon cleanse prior to a colonoscopy, you could just sit on the toilet and drink one.
Like it's literally like a bullet going through me. It's that fast. But I totally get, I think this is what comes back to with keto, all that kind of stuff when Shan and I rant on about it. It's not for me personally because of my guts. Shan definitely finds herself working with that keto lifestyle a little bit better. I think also there's a big difference with keto, like Bulletproof coffees, with throwing like, you know, a kilo of butter in there and going nutso about having a Bulletproof coffee and then doing it properly. You know, I think quite often we'll go, like people take the stuff to the extreme. It's like with paleo. If you are doing paleo and all you're doing is eating meat every single meal and is using an excuse to eat
bacon,
shit tins of meat, bacon, breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, bacon, maple dessert, you have not got the right idea of how to do paleo in the healthy way, you know, the proper way that it's meant to be used. So I think for a lot of people, having Bulletproof coffees is suitable for them, but I think it's very much, and I think you'll know, don't you reckon? Like I feel like you'll know straight away.
100%.
And all that stuff, you got to ease into it. Like if you just went hardcore and started just having Bulletproof coffees all of a sudden, your body will have to change its response to how it's going to respond to that. So ease into it slowly if you are going to do it. You'll be able to tell if it doesn't work for you. But do you want to explain what a Bulletproof coffee actually is, Shan?
Oh, yeah. So Bulletproof coffee is basically black coffee blended up with butter or ghee and MCT oil. So it's a fatty coffee or a keto coffee, but the idea of it is that you're getting lots of MCTs and you're getting a really good dose of fat. So it can be really great for mental clarity and stimulating your cognitive function, because our brain uses that very, very effectively for fuel. So a lot of people who dabble in intermittent fasting or ketosis, or even just a lower carb, and not necessarily low carb or no carb, but lower carb diet, will often try Bulletproof coffee as have that first thing in the morning until you're ready to have your first meal of the day, just sort of to get you through. So you're getting that fat in there that's satiating and making you, not feel hungry, as well as, making sure that you're stimulating that cognitive function and mental clarity, so that you're not just in this haze of brain fog for the morning until you eat your first meal. So, okay, a couple of things. You don't need to put like half a kilo of butter in your coffee. It can be really useful for people who have coffee and they find it makes them really jittery. So by adding fat into your coffee as well, it can slow down that kind of spike of caffeine that you get. So instead of just getting a massive caffeine hit, and a lot of people will feel super jittery from that, that can be coffee quality as well. But having fat in there with your coffee can help to really slow that massive caffeine spike. And instead of giving you a big spike and then a crash on the other side, it kind of gives you a more level sort of energy hit from the caffeine. But potentially having a good quality like coconut milk or something in your coffee could do the same thing too. MCT oil can cause a lot of gastrointestinal distress. So MCT oil is basically medium chain triglyceride oil. So it's kind of, they've taken the medium chain triglycerides from coconut oil and put it into a liquid form. So it's just the MCTs without lauric acid and all the other stuff in there as well. Again, it's a great fuel for our brain. So our brain uses MCTs really, really effectively. But if you've never had MCT oil, I would say do not start with a normal dose. Like you would normally put a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of MCT, blend it up into your black coffee. I would start with a teaspoon when you start, because for a lot of people, they will notice they will just shit themselves. It will come straight through them and very unpleasant. So I definitely would not start.
When you're at work.
Absolutely. When you're on the bus on the way to work. Yeah, exactly.
Move, bitch.
Totally. So it's one of those things, I think, try it if you want to. It tastes pretty good. It kind of just tastes like a really creamy coffee. So totally try it if you want to. I think they taste good. I don't have them a lot. I would be lucky to have one of those a month, and it would be every now and again because I just feel like it. But I would not, it's not something I would have every day, because for me, it's way too much on my guts. My guts cannot handle that. My guts get a bit funny if I have too much coffee. So for me, one coffee a day that's it. And I would just rather put collagen in my coffee and do it on, really good quality. Like I do homemade coconut milk. And anything more than that's just not going to be good for my guts. But try it if you want.
It's also a good one, I find, for people who are trying to put on a bit of weight. Like I've done it for Tom for a little while. Tom, God bless Tom, he's one of those people that can't keep weight on. Like, wouldn't we all love to be one of those people?
What a bitch.
So I would add ghee into Tom's coffees to help with gaining weight. Yeah. So it's a good one. Like we've had people who've jumped on and asked questions about, they're having problems holding weight or keeping weight on. It's a great option if it works for you. And when I was actually really sick with my tummy, I gained a lot of weight, but then I lost a lot of weight when we were getting better. And I would have ghee in my bone broth to help, not a lot, but just to help me keep on a bit of weight and to give your body some fat, because when you don't have enough fat in your diet, also, it throws your hormones out. It can affect your skin, everything. So I think it's about healthy fat. But yeah, I think it's about making sure that you just understand what's working for you. And yeah, it's all about starting slow.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you are going to be, like, if you want to have a Bulletproof coffee as a way of getting some extra calories in your day, that's great. Don't be intermittent fasting at the same time. Don't be doing keto. Like, you want to actually be eating lots of meals, getting in, lots of nutrition and lots of calories. So you can add that as an extra thing, but you could also just do smoothies and whack, some extra coconut oil or coconut cream in your smoothies or stuff like that to get some calories in as well. Okay. If your blog is your job, how long did it take you to build your following?
We don't work. We don't have jobs. we just hang out.
Yeah, totally.
Like this, talking shit.
Yeah, I wish. Could somebody pay me to do this? Really assist with the mortgage repayments.
Someone sponsor these Facebook Live videos.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. So maybe if you sat there in your sports bra, we'd make some money out of this, Shan.
There's nothing to see.
Get off.
I don't think anyone's paying to see my my sternum. I don't think any amount of push-up bras is going to get me any sort of cleavage.
So I think both our stories are going to be very different. I suppose I actually started to do. So when I finished uni, I started doing consulting and things like that, and then I moved to wanting to do workshops. And then as I started doing workshops, I started to grow the blog with that, and then it all kind of became a website. What was the question? How long did it take to do it?
Yeah.
And I've been doing workshops. We've probably been doing workshops for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was doing work for probably a year before that with companies developing some products and things. And yeah, it's probably just grown over that time. I should be a lot better with it. I'm very slack with it. And I should probably do a lot more recipes and information stuff, but it is quite time consuming to sit down and do it all and hash it all out. And yeah, so that's probably, I don't know, probably about 2 years I've probably been on mine, like properly, and probably with my Instagram and stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even like I still am I just rebranded recently. Like everything's always kind of evolving and changing as I go. So
yeah,
it's kind of like just any kind of business where you want to add in there or change or do different things.
Yeah. My blog is not my job. Because I wouldn't be able to pay my mortgage if it was. My blog is like an accessory to reach people, and my job is I have a job that I do, and I also do workshops with you, and that's really where the income comes from. My blog is not my job, and it's probably something that I have got enough people for it to be my job. But look, I just don't think being a do nothing Instagram bitch is my calling. And power to those people who are, but I don't have the time or the inclination or the drive to make that my job, to be on my blog, 24/7 and creating content and, doing sponsored posts and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't feel authentic to me. And you and I are both very, very similar in our approach to brands that we work with, and a lot of companies do approach us to work with them and promote their brand, and we only work with companies of products that we actually like and that we actually use. And I say no to a lot of stuff, and I'm sure you do too. There's plenty of,
and it's hard to make money like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, hard to make money if we're going to be the way that we are, assholes.
Oh,
I think so.
Absolutely. But for me, getting paid, I don't know, $500 to do a couple of Instagram posts doesn't feel authentic to me. And the only way we work with brands is if it's stuff that we use, we actually are happy to recommend, and we'll both try it before we start promoting anything.
Yeah.
We'll give it a good red hot go and see what we think. And there's plenty of times where I've tried stuff and gone, yeah, sorry, I don't like it. I'm actually not going to promote this. I'm not sharing this to people. I don't like it. I don't think it tastes good, or I don't think it does what you say it does, or it's got really shady ingredients in it. And I mean, I wouldn't even let people send me products. I'll have a look at the ingredients. The first thing I ask is send me the ingredients, and I'll look at it and go, yeah, no, sorry.
Or even if we don't mind a product and it comes and we try it and it doesn't make us feel good, or like my guts are like, whoa, what is this? Like, this is obviously processed, or something's gone wrong here because we are not feeling good. Then we just move on. Do you know what I mean? We don't then think, oh, how can we make this work to make money out of it? It's just about whether it's for us and whether we think it's for you guys, and whether we think it's something that we would actually truly recommend and are happy to use.
Yeah. And so for us, for the most part, it's teaming up with brands that we can work with, especially for our workshops, And rather than them actually paying us money to promote their brand, they usually just provide products that we can then sample in our workshops and let you guys try. So I think for both Soph and I, our blog is not our job. It's an avenue to be able to reach people and do what we love doing, which is workshops and educating and, you know, helping people to regain their own health. And we think that starts, you know, with food and in the kitchen. I've probably had my blog for close to 6 years now. So, you know, I've got a lot of engaged followers, but that didn't happen overnight, and that didn't happen because I bought my followers. That's happened over a really long, slow period of time with a lot of really organic growth. And yeah, so I don't think it's, if anyone wants to start a blog, I think great, do it, but don't expect that you're going to have, you know, 50,000 followers by tomorrow, unless of course you're willing to get your tits and ass out, in which case anything could happen. Anything could happen.
You could be a millionaire next week. We're not going to say it won't happen.
Absolutely. Can you recommend a plant-based protein that doesn't taste like dirt?
Ooh, tough one. Have you tried the?
Have you tried dirt this week?
Have you tried the hemp protein?
The hempel one? No, I've only tried the hemp seeds, but
Yeah.
I have heard good things about the hempel brand of protein powder. I've also tried the there's a brand from a company that called Love Your Health, and they do a hemp protein, and it's just a totally flavorless one, and I don't mind that at all. I'm not someone who actually uses protein powder. I'll put it into stuff. I'm making bliss balls and stuff, but it's not something I would take at any sort of regular interval.
No, I think the Amazonia one is great. You're going to be putting them in smoothies and things like that. They have really good ingredients in them, and pretty ingredients, but yes, it tastes like dirt. I'm not going to tell you that doesn't taste like dirt. I think anything with like broccoli, sprouts, and brown rice and peas blended up, and you know, like,
and I think,
really,
unfortunately, plant-based proteins, if you're used to something like taking a whey protein, which is really creamy and really smooth in a drink, a plant-based protein is always going to have a bit more of a gritty, grainy sort of texture. It's just not going to be the same. Yeah. So I think it's just a case.
No.
And everyone has different tastes, like palates, and most of them now are sweetened with stevia, which I have nothing against stevia. I just really don't like the taste of it. I find it incredibly sweet, and I find it has a really weird aftertaste. But I think it's just a case of trying. So I would definitely try the hempel one, and Amazonia. I agree. They usually do a really good job. And they've got heaps of flavors too, so you'll find something in there you like.
Yeah.
Did you change your diet while breastfeeding, Sophie? No. I did not change my diet while breastfeeding. What are you eating, mate? Oh my God, the dog's just chewing up cheese like wooden train set. I didn't. I just ate more food. And it was whatever I could get my hands on at the time when I couldn't put the kid down. So I didn't change my diet. I still ate the same way that I do now, which is, if we've got to call it something, a paleo template. I did lots of starchy carbs, potatoes, sweet potatoes, pumpkin. Probably did a bit of brown rice too. I don't really like rice. Is just something that I'm bored even talking about rice. I just don't love rice. I find it super boring. But I think it's something that's totally fine for people if they need that extra kind of starchy carbs and stuff. I think when you're breastfeeding, making sure you are getting enough starchy carbs in is really, really important. But just making sure you have got enough food too and enough calories. It is not the time to be thinking about losing the baby weight or, getting back to your pre-baby body, because, hot tip, your body will never be the same after you have a baby. But yeah, it's really, if breastfeeding is something that you want to do and that's your choice to do it, and you really want to give it a red hot go, you got to make sure you're getting enough food and enough calories. And it's not the time to be
to be changing up your diet or going paleo or going low carb or going vegan or whatever. Just stick with what you have been doing and make sure you're getting enough food. And if you're having trouble with breastfeeding or you're not producing enough milk or, you know, any of that sort of stuff, then definitely work with a practitioner to help you work out how to help that situation if that's what you want to do. Collagen versus gelatin. Should I take both?
I wouldn't say take both. I would say take one or the other, because you're basically getting the same thing. The difference is that collagen's derived differently, so it will dissolve in hot and cold liquids, whereas gelatin will gel in cold liquids. So really, it's just about a convenience thing. Like, you're not going to stand there while everything's hot and trying to whisk the gelatin in to consume it. Adding collagen in when it dissolves in coffee, when it dissolves in tea, when it dissolves in smoothies, anything like that, it just makes it really easy to consume it. It's totally up to you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. Obviously, if you're going to make gummies and things like that, you're going to need the gelatin because it's going to gelatinize in the liquid. But I would recommend collagen. You can get some really great collagen brands now as well. Like Shan, I love the multi-collagen from Dr. Josh, and it's available on like iHerb. It's like a fish, eggshell, chicken, beef collagen. I think collagens, if you're actually trying to consume all the time, you're probably going to have a better chance that you will consume all the time because it's easier to add things. And when it's easier, you're probably more likely to do it. That's the great thing about collagen. Flavorless, colorless, and doesn't have a strong texture. Gelatin has a strong texture when you add it into things. So if you're even trying to give it to kids or, you know, teenagers and stuff, it's going to be a bit harder to probably give them gelatin unless it's in the form of gummies. Whereas collagen, you can add into all your cooking, stews, soups.
So it's basically exactly the same building blocks. It's just whatever's going to be easier for you to get in. But I totally agree. I think collagen's much easier to actually incorporate into lots of things. This is a good one. So why is the media now saying that coconut oil is bad? Have you seen this?
Yeah, a little bit of it. I haven't properly read into the study yet that she was talking about. What was it? Was it that she was just comparing all saturated fats?
Yeah, it was actually, I don't even think it was based on a study. I think from what I can see is it was a Harvard professor. She, I think, is still stuck in the 80s where saturated fat is bad and butter's going to kill you and give you heart disease. And I'm 99% sure she's not a professor in nutrition or anything even within that realm of health science. And I think she just, you know, made a passing comment that coconut oil's got saturated fat and it's going to kill you and it's going to clog your arteries and all that sort of jazz.
Because
pardon?
That was going to be my question. What was her justification? Where did this come from then?
Yeah, I think just that's just her opinion on things. And so, and you know, of course the media, they grab that and they run with it because she's a Harvard professor. She's probably a Harvard professor of, I don't know, fucking basket weaving or something like
medieval underwater basket weaving.
Exactly. So, you know what? I think it's one of those things. Every week there will be a new thing. You know, a while ago it was red meat gives you cancer. Well, that was done on a study that was an observational study to begin with. So it's not actually a clinical trial, but it was done on an observational study of people who were consuming red meat. Now, that wasn't quality control. That wasn't people who were consuming organic and free-range red meat. That was people who were just consuming red meat. Macca's, you know, they were eating all this sort of
Domino's.
Domino's pizza, like processed shit. So those people are also a lot more likely to be drinking a lot of alcohol, potentially smoking, not exercising. You know, that the fact that they're, you know, consuming these types of red meat does not indicate that they are a healthy population to be studying. So, and then from that observational study, they've gone, okay, well, these people were higher risk to get cancer. Yeah, because they ate shit food, they did no exercise, they were the epitome of bad health. So yeah, they were, but then that translates on a mass scale to the media going, oh yeah, so red meat gives you cancer. No. just no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pay no
It's like
attention.
Shannon and I jumping on our Instagram tomorrow and the two of us deciding that we don't like something anymore, and then the two of us start saying, you know, hemp seeds are going to kill you, or you're going to lose your middle toe because you've eaten too many hemp seeds. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we just take anything that starts to trend a little bit and we run with it and we go crazy for it. So yeah, I think it's definitely about putting into perspective. And also, how much coconut oil are you consuming? Are you throwing 30 tablespoons in your diet across the day, or are you having like, you know, half a tablespoon across what you've cooked in or what you've added to a smoothie? Or, you know, I think it's about how much you're actually consuming as well. And if you're consuming, you know, coconut oil in stuff in the morning, then you're eating macas at lunchtime, and then you're eating, you know, all these different vegetable oils and stuff, yeah, you probably are going to start to have problems with your arteries, because you're consuming a whole heap of shitty saturated fats, and then you're trying to add a little bit of coconut oil here and there because you've heard it's healthy. So it's about an overall diet. It's about balance. It's about moderation. And it's about buying good quality products as well. They've turned coconut oil into sprays and all sorts of things now. Just get extra virgin coconut oil. You know, cold pressed, got the least processed, and just get good quality stuff and have it in moderation. Don't be stupid. And I think it's quite hard as well, because people jump on the healthy bandwagon, and maybe they're having a lot of sugar in their diet. So then they just use coconut oil and make sweets all the time, like raw sweets, and then they eat all that stuff. Not only is it like 47,000 calories, but you need to be filling up your diet with other foods like vegetables and fruits and things. So it's just this crap that Shan and I always blurb on about. And, you know, coconut oil is amazing. It's been fantastic on my gut health journey with all the antifungal, antibacterial properties and everything. And it's been great to have for my guts and to cook in. So
yeah, but it's one of those things as well. Just because it works for some people doesn't mean it's going to work for other people.
Yeah.
If you do not like the taste of coconut oil, or you can't stand the smell of it, don't use it. That's cool. You don't have to.
No.
Is there any one thing that you can completely avoid, like, for example, sugar?
If there one thing that I completely
it could
avoid,
be a person. I could think of a couple of people that you'd like to completely avoid.
I try to completely avoid caffeine. Yeah. And Shannon and I always talk about this at workshops, because I think if you're coming to us and you're saying, do I need to remove gluten, or do I need to remove dairy, or do I need to cut out coffee? There's obviously something going wrong, or you're not feeling as good as you should as to why you're thinking these things. And I think sometimes we really, really, really want something to be good for us, that we will just pretend that it is, or we'll hope, you know, we'll ask in the hope that I will say, or Shan will say, oh, well, you know, see how you feel with it. And you go, well, I feel okay when I drink coffee.
And coffee is really high in antioxidants, so I can have all the coffee.
Yeah. And so, you know, and I put all my MCTs in there because it's good for my brain. And, you know, and I think it's the difference between having something that you think's healthy because you want to keep it in your diet, or knowing that you need to get rid of it. And I was like that with coffee for a long time. I love coffee. Like, I actually love the taste of coffee. I enjoy having coffee. I like going and having coffee with Tom. It's something that we do. You know, I like that part of it. But my body hates it. My body absolutely hates coffee. It really hates it. I get irritated. I get really bad moods when I have coffee. My guts hate it. I go to the toilet all the time when I have coffee. You know, I'll have aches in my tummy after I have it. It's not for me. And it's funny, because I've always known that. And over this past probably year and a half, 2 years, I've really tried to barely have it. Like, say if we go away, I might have it once, but really barely have it. And if I do, it'll be a black coffee watered down. And to me, there's no fun in that anyway. And I just had all my genetics testing done, all my gene testing. And when I'd cut out black coffee, I started to have a little bit more green tea or a little bit of black tea here and there if I felt like I really needed it. And did my genetics testing, it came back as one of the worst things I could ever put in my body out of anything is green tea and caffeine. And which green tea has caffeine in it, but they were saying green tea is particularly bad for me, and then just caffeine in general. And so when I don't have it, I feel amazing, and I know that I feel amazing. but I do have those moments where it's like everyone's having a coffee and god damn, I'd just like to sit down and have a coffee. So it probably sugar and coffee and, well, there's a lot of things. There's so many things that I avoid. But I think one of the things that I find a lot of people do have that they aren't too sure if they should or shouldn't is coffee. And it's definitely something that I try and avoid, as well as a million other things. But yeah, it's probably the hardest one for me.
I've had plenty of times where I've broken up with coffee. I think in different times of my life, if I'm feeling particularly stressed, I know that coffee is not my friend. It doesn't serve me. It gives me way too much of a cortisol spike, gives me anxiety. I just don't feel great with it. But then there's other times where I feel totally fine with coffee. But I think I've had a very tumultuous relationship with coffee that now I know when it's serving me and when it's...
You're like a bad relationship.
Absolutely. We're on again, off again, on again, off again. It's just a really bad relationship. But so for me, there's the one thing, and I guess there's probably nothing that I can say that I 100% completely avoid, because sometimes things are just unavoidable. But generally, I will avoid things that have vegetable oil in them. For me, vegetable oil is one of those things that it's a hard line. If I have products with vegetable oil in them, if someone sends me products with vegetable oil in it, I'm not eating that. I just feel like that stuff is so damaging. It's so inflammatory. For me, I'd more happily let a bit of, processed white sugar in something than I would vegetable oil. I don't buy it. It's hard to avoid when you're eating out, because pretty much every restaurant you go to will cook in vegetable oil, because it's cheap. They buy it in fucking truckloads. It's one of those things that's, it's super hard to avoid when you're eating out. On that note, Wild Kitchen only cook in coconut oil, and they cook in a really good quality olive oil as well. So you're pretty safe there. But yeah, pretty much everywhere else is going to use vegetable oil. So eating out, I can't say I completely avoid vegetable oil, because when you eat out, it's unavoidable. You're going to end up with vegetable oil in your food. But as a rule, for me, I will not buy products that have vegetable oil in them. That's just it's a non-negotiable. And if there's an option to have something, I would choose not to have it if I knew that it had vegetable oil in it. And I would never buy anything that has vegetable oil in it.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with Gut Right?
Oh, good. I really liked it. Like, I actually really liked the product. I think that ATP are a fantastic brand. I think they put a lot of effort into their brands and into their products, and a lot of science behind them, a lot of research. They do fantastic podcasts. I take a few of their products. So I take L-glutamine for my gut and my immune system and protein synthesis in my body. It's really, really helped my gut. L-glutamine has, so I try and take it every day, whether it's in smoothies and different things. They have L-glutamine. Their Alpha Mars was one of the ones I started taking for my estrogen metabolism. So we've worked out that all my hormone problems is because the phase 1 of my liver can't break down and remove the estrogen from my body. So it recycles through my body, which has caused the acne and the problem with my period pain and everything. So it's been a fantastic product for my estrogen metabolism initially, until I started to get the prescribed genetics medication that I needed. Well, not medication, it's like supplements that I needed for once we got my gene results back. So they're great products to start on. And then Gut Right. So I've actually just ordered their new one. It's called Resilience. It's for your immune system.
Yeah.
But Gut Right's great. I found that the first few days, though, when you're having a lot of it, you are like, where did that gas come from? Did something die in the house kind of situation?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even think that it'll happen, especially if your guts are really good at that point in time. But basically what it's really doing is removing a lot of that dead bacteria inside your guts and removing it from your guts and balancing out that environment and making it the right kind of environment to balance out, your firmicutes and it's just a really interesting product. And what I also found was you go to the toilet so much, and they say that, you know, you're going to start to pull out a lot of that dead bacteria or bacteria that doesn't need to be there anymore. And yeah, it's actually amazing how much you actually do go to the toilet and how much you feel like you really empty your bowels as well. It's a product I'm still taking now. Like, I did the 10-day protocol where I ate the right kind of food and did what they said. And then I have just been having it as a maintenance each day or every second day. Just it's that.
Stop. Take that somewhere else.
Is it 10 grams in a little serve or 5 grams? I think it's 10 grams.
It's like a teaspoonish sort of stuff.
Yeah. So just that little cap, that's kind of what I take every day, every second day. If I miss it, it's not a problem, but I've just found it's been really my tummy.
Yeah. So I'll just note, Soph and I didn't get sent this product. We have both forked out for buying this product. So we're certainly not promoting it off the back of ATP Science, but we both just think it's a really, really great brand. And if they would like to sponsor us, we would happily take these products because we really like them. I cannot wait to try the Resilience as well. I think I'm going to get some of that. I think that is going to be epic for people who just are really immune suppressed, find they get sick all the time. It's got some excellent ingredients, lots of real anti-inflammatories in there. I think as well, just people who are suffering from like lots of joint pain and inflammation and stuff like that, it sounds like it could be really, really useful. I did not do the 3 times a day protocol with the Gut Right. I did it twice a day for about 7 days. And then I just dropped back to once a day. I found the same as you. Initially really, really gassy. And after that, sort of totally fine. But I think I feel better taking it. And I usually do have it. Yeah, I usually do try and take it once a day. I definitely feel like my guts are better with it. It's also one of those things, though, I think if your guts are super messed up, I think throwing that in on top could be like just fucking getting a jerry can of fuel and throwing it into a fire. Like, I think it would be way too much for somebody who has lots and lots of gut issues and you don't know what's going on in there. I feel like you'd have a huge reaction to it. And it probably wouldn't be a bad reaction, but it may not be something that you're ready for or able to deal with. Because I feel like you'd be probably getting a lot of die off. It would be a lot going on. And I think if you don't understand why that's happening or even what the situation in your guts is, I feel like it would probably be too much. So I think for probably the general punter, you know, give it a try if you want to, but just be prepared that if your guts are a little messed up, there's, you know, you could be getting lots of bloating, you could be getting lots of gas, you could end up with a fair bit of diarrhea. So, you know, I think the Gut Right product is excellent, but I don't think every single person should use it.
And I think it's about, like Shan was just saying, meeting your guts where they're at. Maybe in a year's time, you'll be in that position. But if you are having problems with your gut and you haven't changed your diet or done any of that sort of stuff yet, that's probably, you know, where you need to be looking. We tend to have a lot of people, like I've been getting so many messages lately from people who need advice. They're having lots of problems with their gut. What should they be eating? What should they be doing? And really, so, like, the supplements are great and some of these products that have been designed are great, but if you're not just focusing on your food initially, it'll never improve long term because that's what you're feeding your body every day, and that's what's going to ultimately going to be affecting your gut microbiome every single day. So
I think I totally agree. I get so many people send messages, my guts are messed up, what should I do? I'm like,
well, Cheryl,
exactly. Okay, Karen, I don't know you and I have got no idea what is going on with your guts. So that small amount of information does not help me.
Like, it's great at the workshops because Shan and I can talk to people and we can get a general gist of what's going on and we can discuss things. But when we're sent messages like that, we love to help people and we love to give, not advice, but we love to, you know, help people out where we can, explain what we do for ourselves and or what we've done and what's worked. But honestly, like, I will sit down when I go see a holistic doctor or specialist, and her and I, like my holistic doctor at the moment with my genetics testing and everything, we sat down for 2 hours to go through my life of health. It wasn't like a little text message or email being like, oh, yep, got ulcerative colitis and I shit a lot. You know, like it's there's a lot that goes into all that sort of stuff. So and sometimes things aren't good. Like I had turmeric, so much turmeric all the time for so long, and turmeric suppresses your phase 1 of your liver. My phase 1 of my liver doesn't work. I do not need to be suppressing my phase 1 of my liver. If anything, I need to be helping it more than anything in my whole body.
Yeah.
So I don't have turmeric now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like us saying to you guys, you say to us, oh, we've got gut problems. What should we do? Oh, have turmeric. You could be the exact same person as me. That's not going to help you.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're very educated with food and what to be eating and what to be putting in your body, and we can help in that sense and rechange diets and things like that, because that's what we do. But I think if there's actually problems going wrong and you've done a lot of stuff with your food, or you haven't even gone down that path yet, you need to be kind of into that sort of stuff, you know, instead of just hoping that we can say take gut right and it'll make it all better.
And test, don't guess. Like if you're someone who's eating a standard Australian diet and it's full of shit and your guts are fucked, okay, my suggestion is remove the processed shit, eat more real food, give that a crack for a month and see how you go.
Yeah.
And if you've still got problems, then go and see a, you know, holistic GP, a naturopath, you know, a nutritionist who specializes in gut health, and test what is going on there. Because just like you, turmeric is great and it could be amazing for 90% of the population, but for you it's fucking kryptonite. Like that is not cool and you don't need it, but you would never know that. You would have just kept throwing in turmeric on top of that if you hadn't tested.
So, anti-inflammatory. So I'm a huge believer in testing. I really am a huge believer in testing, and it's a baseline. You then have something to work off. It's like with everything you do in your life, you tend to always have those baselines, except we don't do it with our health. We need to do it with our health. And yet it might be forking out $600 or $1,000, but that's just tough luck sometimes. Well, you know, we'll spend that money on vacation, but we won't spend that money on our bodies, which we live in, when we're not feeling well or things aren't getting better.
100%. And you know what, I think, sometimes that can be expensive. Testing can be expensive, or seeing a holistic GP or, you know, the right healthcare practitioner for you can be expensive. But you know what? Being sick is always going to be more expensive. Always. Because in the long term, that's going to hang around. Whereas if you can kind of work out what's wrong and get well, you don't need to worry about forking out for being sick in the future. You can, you know, at least be healthier.
Oh, I feel like people would die if they knew the kind of money that I've spent on my health. But it's a priority for me at the moment to be better and to feel better every day. If I didn't spend the money that I've spent so far, I'd be on all sorts of steroid medication, growth hormones every single day to make sure I didn't have bloody gastro every day.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? I think it's just about reprioritizing things, isn't it? There are plenty of people who would spend $600 every month on going out to eat or going out drinking.
Alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's fine. If that's your jam, fill your boot.
Yeah.
But don't say you can't afford to go and get a comprehensive stool analysis done. If you're going to go and blow $600 a month on booze, you can afford to get a comprehensive stool analysis done. If what you want is to be well, and if it's not, that's cool.
Yeah, you do you.
Absolutely. All right, last question. What do you think of exogenous ketones?
Are these the ketone powders that you have used? I've never used them. It's not been my thing. I know that you've spoken about them a few times, and I've seen the product. I've read about them, but I guess it's just not something that I've delved into. I do know that they don't taste very good. And I'm a big foodie. I don't want to be putting anything in my body that I don't like. And now I've started all this stuff with my genes. I've had all products formulated specifically for my genes now, and that's what I take each day at the moment. And it's like really concentrated brassica sprouts and things like that. Like, it's not chemical medication. And I'm taking like 13 different things at the moment. I don't want to take any more things.
I'm
like,
by the time I'm taking all my pills in the morning, it's 7 p.m.
I'd like have to sit down with like a liter of water for like an hour to try and get all those things into my diet. Like I'm like, take one pill and I'm not one of those like chuck them in, knock it back. I'm like, line it up with my tongue, have like 3 liters of water to get it down so it doesn't touch my throat. I'm just not into just taking crap for the sake of taking it. Like it's just not me. Like I'd much rather be having a variety of food across the day, and I would just be prioritizing good healthy fats and working on being in ketosis and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, you rag on about it because you know a bit more about that kind of pathway than I do.
Well, you know what? I would definitely not say I'm any sort of expert on exogenous ketones. I tried them once and they tasted like ass, and I was like, yeah, nah, to no from me. I think obviously quality is important, and there's a few brands who are doing a really good job of it. There's others who are not. It's really more aimed at those people who are, I would say, looking for the, particularly the mental clarity and cognitive benefits of ketosis, who don't want to particularly be doing a really, really, low carb keto diet all the time. So I think where exogenous ketones can be really useful is people who are eating, say, a really clean paleo style diet, and they're eating, a lower carb diet, but they're not doing no carbs. They're still including starchy veggies and stuff like that, that potentially is not going to let them be in ketosis all the time. But by incorporating exogenous ketones, you're getting those ketone bodies floating around in your brain and helping with that cognitive function, mental clarity, all that sort of stuff that a lot of people really like about being in ketosis. So I think exogenous ketones can be really useful for that in terms of stimulating those benefits of ketosis. If people think that they are just going to take exogenous ketones and that's going to put them into ketosis and make them burn more fat, that's not what's going to happen. So if you're still eating shit or an excessive amount of carbohydrates for what your body needs, you're going to have ketone bodies floating around in your bloodstream because you've just put them in. You've just put basically synthetic ketones in. So they're floating around in your bloodstream, but there's still glucose floating around in your bloodstream and all the rest of that sort of stuff that your body is still going to use as fuel. So just because you take exogenous ketones doesn't mean that you're going to be in ketosis all the time and that you're going to be, in fat burning mode. So I think a lot of people go keto for the fat burning. They want to lose weight or they want to lose body fat. And that's fine. If that's your jam and that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. But taking exogenous ketones and not eating a low carb diet is not going to get you that end goal. The only thing taking exogenous ketones is going to do in that situation is it's going to help with the mental clarity and cognitive function and all that sort of stuff. You're going to get those benefits of ketosis. You're not going to get the fat loss benefits of ketosis by taking exogenous ketones. You need to be eating a low carb diet for that to actually occur so that your body can preferentially use fat for fuel as opposed to burning glucose. So look, I think, sure, if people want to try them. I think they taste fucking awful. But, if you want to give it a crack and see how you feel, I would definitely say use a really good quality brand. But yeah, they're not my jam. And I think if you're going to go taking them because you think that it's going to put you into ketosis and you're going to be losing fat, that's not how it works.
Not the reason to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's us for today.
We've had a lot of inquiries come through about pressure cookers and talking about pressure cookers and explaining what ones we like, what ones we use, what you can buy, all that kind of stuff. So we might just do a Facebook Live on that because we might actually show our pressure cookers.
Yeah.
Or we can do it or an Instagram Live or something like that, and we can just show the pressure cookers and just keep it up and people can just have a look at it, because I think it's probably better if we can go through and show the settings and what they do and stuff. And if you're a little bit unsure and you do want to check some out, go to Pressure Cookers Australia. It's like a site and a company who actually just go through every single pressure cooker, electric ones on the stove, what brands, what are low toxic, all that kind of stuff. So they do all the work for you basically. So they're a good one to have a look at.
Awesome.
I just had a lady send through a Facebook message as well asking about vegetable oils.
Oh, yeah.
And asked if olive oil and coconut oil fall into that line, and if they don't, what's the problem with the other oils?
Okay. No, they don't. So vegetable oils would be things like, it'll be called vegetable oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil,
usually sunflower.
Yeah, sunflower
Soybean
oil. Also, what did you say?
Soybean.
Yeah, soybean oil. All those sorts of things.
Rice bran.
Rice bran oil. Did I say canola oil?
Yep.
Yeah. All of those things are vegetable oils, and they just come under that basket of vegetable oil.
Yeah.
The problem with vegetable oils is that they're really, really highly processed. There's this amazing video on YouTube. If you Google how is canola oil made on YouTube, you'll get this incredible video. And the funniest thing is that it's actually a advertisement, and I think it was done in the 80s to promote canola oil.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically shows you the whole process from the initial canola and turning it into canola oil. And it's like this promotion about how amazing canola oil is. And it basically shows you this process, and it is disgusting. So the heat processing that these seeds need to go through to actually extract oil from them, that oil then comes out looking like black tar, and it stinks. So they bleach it, and then they deodorize it, and then eventually they, heat process it, and they put it into bottles, and it's this yellowy clear liquid that we now pull off a shelf. That stuff, at that point where it is in a canola seed, it's probably okay. Like if you actually ate that canola seed, that's probably okay. Once it's been through that process, if you think about really delicate oil, so things like your hemp oil or flaxseed oil or stuff like that that are cold press extracted, they're delicate oils. You would not cook with them. You would not heat them, because when you do, you damage them. So this process that vegetable oil has gone through it is highly damaged and highly processed. By the time it gets put in that bottle, that shit is so, not apart from the fact that it's been bleached and deodorized, and it does not in any way resemble that initial, oil that would have come out of that seed. It is so highly damaged. That shit is basically a trans fat.
Toxic.
Yeah. And then we go and cook with it, and we heat it. And especially vegetable oils, that's what they put in fryers and stuff like that. So then they're heating this stuff to, like hundreds of degrees, heating it and heating it and heating it. You're basically turning that shit that's already so damaged into this toxic trans fat. It's so inflammatory. They're so inflammatory to our bodies and our cells. And what we know is we are what we eat. Every single cell of our body starts to get made up from the food we consume. So if we're eating highly processed, really damaged vegetable oils and trans fats, that's actually what's making up the membranes of our cells, and that's contributing to our cell integrity. So now we've got these really, really, highly inflamed, really damaged cells that our body's trying to make. It's not cool.
It's a real unnatural way of processing oils. Processing coconut oil and olive oil is really, really not easy, but the way that they do it's a lot more of a natural way of just pressing and producing oil. Whereas when they're producing those sorts of oils, like Shan was just saying, it's a real unnatural way to be doing it, and the kind of process it needs to go through. It's just like processing all other food, basically, in factories.
Yeah.
All chemical kind of food where they have to break it down, heat it, all that stuff. So, yeah, it just becomes really toxic. And usually found in a lot of dips, found in a lot of sauces, especially like with things that you're buying from supermarkets.
Because it's cheap. It's really, really cheap because it is so massive.
And it does the job.
No. Yeah. So that's why it's used in everything. And unfortunately, it's really hard because everything you buy, from like curry pastes to pestos to pasta sauces, all that stuff, will be made on vegetable oil, and it'll be canola oil or soybean oil or, you know, sunflower oil or something like that, because it's cheap. It's so cheap for them to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of that stuff we try to make at home. I've actually found we were away in the camper van the past week. It was really hard going to a lot of towns to get stuff, like to get food, you know, and then you don't have a lot in the van to make things. So obviously just eat real food. But yeah, it's amazing how much stuff, like if we want dips at home, I just make dips.
Yeah.
But when you go and buy stuff, it's amazing how much crap's in a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about kind of just making a lot of stuff at home, or just buying, you know, finding brands you trust.
And it's starting to change. You know, like I saw a brand in a health food store the other day where they'd made mayo and it was made on avocado oil. Great.
Yeah.
So, you know, there is some companies that are starting to make better quality products with better quality ingredients and stuff like that. But yeah, look, honestly, there is so much information and research out there on vegetable oils. So if you're not sold yet on the fact that they're shit and they're going to kill you, that's cool. Just search the interwebs and you'll find plenty of great info in there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. All right. I think we've gone for literally 1 hour.
We should actually go and do some work that will make us some money.
Shut up.
Go and do some work that actually pays us.
Yeah. So if anyone's on here and you are in Melbourne, we're coming. We're coming for you.
We are coming.
Hot and fast.
Yeah. We've got 3
we're going to be doing
in Melbourne. We've got one in Preston, one in Brunswick, and one in
Mill Park
so far. So they are limited spaces. If you do want to come along, make sure you book your tickets, because once they're sold, and we're not coming back. So, you know.
That's it. It's a one-time offer. We will
it's a one-time offer.
Melbourne ever again. And you can book in through the website. So just jump on the website to secure your spot. Or if you're a business in Melbourne and you want a workshop, let us know. We probably have one more day that we could probably run a workshop. We'd love to do a snacks and treats one while we're down there. So yeah, get in contact. But yeah, we'll see you down there if you're based in Melbourne.
Sounds good.
Get excited.
All right.
All right.
See you next time.
See you later.
Bye.